Thank you so much for waiting, everybody. The highly anticipated panel is now here. Allow me to introduce an essential and most intriguing panel focused on decentralized venture capital and yield funds. Please welcome with me on stage Mr. Valentine, our moderator, and he is the founder and CEO, and Mr. Asad Dora, the co-founder and chief visionary officer. And then up next we have Mr. Alexander Faisal. Welcome him back again. He truly went above and beyond yesterday, along with Mr. Alexander Ruffin and Ms. Maral of Luna PR. Huge round of applause, everybody.
Okay, guys, let's start. So decentralized venture funds and yield funds. Just a few months ago, maybe a year ago, there were more than $200 billion staked in yield farming and other stuff, mostly by institutions. So there were family offices, there were funds, yield funds. There were centralized players who were investing into decentralized yield farming protocols, including UST, Terra, right, which collapsed. Then Nero Capital collapsed. Celsius, Genesis, now Silvergate. FTX is a big different story, right? So here is the recent news from the decentralized venture investing into yield farming, which was kind of the driver of the recent DeFi boom, right? There's also investments into new protocols, kind of next age protocols, ranging from Phantom, from Solana, and they're served by pretty centralized funds. So there were attempts to set up funds which can be fully decentralized and still kind of proactively switch between farming, between coins, and DAOs to manage their algorithms, tradable on the secondary market on centralized platforms. So the centralized platform trade this token of this fund. It's not much decentralized. It's more decentralized than the traditional registry and custody, but still it is kind of managed by the securitized centralized platform. And the legal contract which bound the token is underlying traditional private equity company. So securitize maybe the biggest player in the space. What about decentralized platforms?
But as you all know here, with blockchain, with crypto, we're trying to solve a problem with regards to trust, right? We've lost trust in financial traditional systems, we've lost trust in commercial banks, we've lost trust in hedge funds, we've lost trust through multiple players, right? But the VC world is not being covered enough, because here, one side we have trust, but the other side we have inclusion. And financial inclusion is absolutely key. Who here has had access to a quality VC deal? Show me your hands. Who here would like access to the primary markets and quality investments in the primary market? Show your hands. For those who don't know, show me a dance. I'm sorry, that was a stupid joke. But the problem we're solving here, guys, is the VC world has been existing for half a century. It formalized in the United States and then took over the world. But even before that, it was really inclusive. It was entirely inclusive, where you have family offices or family funds that are already extremely wealthy, keep their wealth with investment opportunities. And us, the middle class, we never would see any type of these deals. And these deals would go all the way eventually to an IPO, and then only then in the secondary markets, all of a sudden, we try to pick up the crumbs, or we're not eating the cake. So one thing that's really important And this wealth gap, by the way, is growing across the world. In the US, I was born in the US, it is horrible. The 0.5% that own 30 to 40% of wealth is a massive problem because that is the catalyst of many other problems. I'm jealous because he has more wealth, or he's jealous because I have more wealth, creates conflict. And relative to what we see in our everyday lives, we get jealous, and that leads to crimes, violence, blood on the streets. So one thing that's really important, guys, understanding the why first, and inclusion. If we can rebuild trust with blockchain, now with decentralized VC models, we need to bring in more inclusion, and I think that's the really important message we need to send.
CEO of Luna PR and Cointelegraph. So we are award-winning Web3 PR and marketing agency. So a lot of projects are coming to us early on stages looking to raise funds, and of course through VCs, through the high net worths, through even individuals looking to invest in projects, they get the opportunity, and that's what I love about this industry. It's just so inclusive. When we look at actual large funds that are, like from the traditional standpoint, average people like us can't get into these funds. They're the ones investing in indexes and things like that. And people like us can't get involved. So until I actually entered the Web3 space, I wasn't someone who invested because I didn't have an opportunity to do so. But obviously through DAOs, through VCs, we actually have a VC ourselves, VC, we're able to invest in these opportunities, and it's just so inclusive, like you said, Alex.
No, but I think Valentin, you have a good point. So decentralized and on-chain are two completely different words. So sometimes you may have a project on-chain and people just by default think it's decentralized. Besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, nothing is truly decentralized quantitatively, right? If you measure, it's just on-chain and it's on its way to becoming decentralized. But guys, I just want to share one thing. I'm trying to think of you, the beloved community and people watching out there. What can I share that's valuable to you? If you don't want to go through the investment route, if you don't think, okay, I want to go through Bitcoin and then step by step, level by level, go into decentralized or inclusive VCs, DAOs, or launchpads, what I would recommend is start getting involved in social fi. Start creating your identity online. Open up your wallets. Go to Lens Protocol. Create your asa.lens identity. Because in the future, right now, it's still a very capitalistic model, right? If you have money, you will make more money. And even the layer 012 blockchains, proof of stake is purely capitalistic. There's governance, but still you need money to make money, right? But I think in the future, by having a strong behavior, by creating your Web3 identity, people will be able to know on an honest level that you're a good person. You're helping them promote their project. You brought other friends onto the project, and they will be rewarding you with tokens, which will then give you access to other opportunities. It won't come right away, but just create your Web3 wallets, create your Web3 identity, and start being active in these networks. You're going to receive airdrops, and then with those airdrops, you're going to receive a score. And then all of a sudden, as Ray Dalio says in the book Principles, it's not purely capitalistic, it's going to become meritocratic. Because you guys have put your effort and love into growing the community and the networks, and you will be rewarded for that. That's where I see it going, and that's where it needs to go.
By the way, this airdrops model was used by some of the platform to avoid the security regulation risk, where kind of those who buy LP token of the decentralized fund, they officially do not get exposure to certain portfolio management services. They get exposure to airdrop tokens. So the portfolio, the repayment of this LP token was done like it's a ticket to get free airdrops, right? Which were effectively dividends. But as I remember, others in Horowitz invested into this this idea, but where is the traction? Maybe Victor silenced this kind of great ideas for a while. Maybe they kind of keep it growing in under stealth mode. So, what's your thought on this? Okay. Me too, frankly, yes. So, then we have kind of a few questions left. That's about what is missing for the funds infrastructure, and what type of funds can find a product market fit. So
Yeah, so
it's up to you.
yeah, I mean, if we talk about the infrastructure of funds, I think this is something where the big companies have an advantage because they know how infrastructure works. If we talk about lawyers, if we talk about security and the different points we have in big companies. What I see, but I talk really about the small decentralized DAOs or VCs, is that they start something and they think they can just do it and don't need to take care about infrastructure itself. And I think this is where it can start and you can gather money. But if you don't have a good backup plan, if you don't have a good security plan, and if you don't have good lawyers on board, then you will get an issue over time. And this is what I see when we engage with some smaller VCs, when we get some money as a project. We had a look on how they are built and who's behind. And we saw a lot of smaller VCs, decentralized VCs, they had not really a great team in place where you can say, I'm very sure that they know what they're doing. They were still able to gather money because they had a community. And I think that's again the power. Like if you have a community and they trust you, you can gather money and you can spend it again on some projects and get good profits. But on the way from investing somewhere and getting profits, a lot can go wrong, right? And this needs to be secured. So I think infrastructure is the most important thing to take care of. And I think the smaller VCs, they still need to learn how to do it. We all need to learn how to do it because blockchain is still young, regulation is still changing, especially if you talk about tokens and liabilities and securities. Like in the future, a lot can happen. So we need to be, I think, very cautious and we need to have a good team in these VCs to have a successful, long-lasting one.
Yeah, cool. So one question left in our agenda. I think we touched it multiple times. Yet, where is the traction? What kind of funds can find the product market fit?
Yeah, so for us, a lot of projects are coming on and they want to connect to exchanges, they want to connect to the DAOs because the DAOs are associated with the launch pads. And again, we're trying to get this inclusivity and get everyone involved. So for us, we want to find a way to, we like to market our clients, we bring them, that way they're ready to go out there to market. And then also communicate with the DAOs, with launch pads and exchanges and ensure they're in line as well. So yeah, it's such a niche topic, but yeah, that's basically it.
I think the DAOs that will prevail will be those that bring the most value in a transparent manner. As I was saying, it's a lot about meritocracy and accountability. There was actually a huge project which got refunded by a DAO because they were kind of competitors and they didn't provide enough value. And there's been a big discussion in the space between how do VCs, traditional VCs, behave compared to retailers when it comes to taking profits, or to say it, more clearly, dumping sometimes. And you would be shocked at how much these very well famous, reputed VCs dump like crazy. And so the poorest retailers hold a lot more. And with the power of blockchain, we, for the first time in history, are able to do on-chain analysis and see an average of the community behavior, and that has value in addition to the community support. And so I think this is something that will be tracked more and more in order to put some kind of value on the investors as well.
And I think for all you guys out there, so you see the title here, we have VCs and yield funds. Right now in the current market conditions, really it's for you to figure out, number one, what is your own risk appetite, right? How much are you willing to lose relative to how much you're willing to make? But also dividing between the two. Right now we're in a market that's relatively sluggish and not a bull market. So perhaps you want to put more of the ratio of your funds into the yields. And yields, there are different type of opportunities. We have something called liquid staking, which is very, very popular these days. And you can earn anywhere between 6 to 15, 16% APY a year and accumulate your funds that have already retraced and corrected from their all-time highs. So what ratio do you want to put into those yields? There's another very interesting part, which are decentralized hedge funds, which are essentially algorithmic strategies, quant strategies. And you put your USDC, you put your Bitcoin, you put your Ethereum, and it will essentially put a percentage of that into a yield, and then the rest of it will go long, short, and it will automate your wealth. So you don't have to put any of your effort. So those are the two routes. You see yield funds, what am I going to put into liquid staking? What am I going to put into quant strategies to grow my wealth? And then with the wealth that I grow, how much do I want to put into the VC model, the launchpad, or the down model that Mario was talking about earlier? So it's really a ratio, but I can tell you this, guys. If you time well your participation in the launchpads and the VC side at the right time, obviously we can never time it perfectly, but you manage to do that when the market starts picking up, the gains are exponential. They're asymmetrical returns all over the place. So it's really for you guys to kind of balance the two, right? Find what's the right balance for you and take that risk and return appetite approach, which I think is key to success and key to growing your wealth, even before essentially going straight into the VC model.
To summarize, guys, so there are two big use cases of the decentralized funds. One of them is about tokenization of traditional assets. It's about bringing liquidity to private equity. And but this has a lack of traction because the traditional assets are not much interested to crypto investors. There is a little upside in terms of, it's not about new money printing, which is a really marginal business in crypto. Print your money, expand user base, create $1 trillion value. That's how crypto is growing. But when you have some real estate or private companies kind of became tradable, they have 20 upside on liquidity, 20%. Not 20,000, just 20. So it's for traditional investors who are not eager to try the new instruments. They have their old way to invest into private equity as well. So retail investors are pretty new for the traditional equity, for private equity. They still have Facebook valued at 15 price earning ratio, which is 2 to 3 times below kind of the average for the last 5 years. So they have something to buy on the public market. So there is neither demand from institutionals, there is neither demand for retail investors to buy secondary, to buy private equity on the tokenized private equity. And of course not a crypto community. They need something with a big upside, like new gold. So this is the first part of the story. It's about bringing liquidity to traditional assets. The second part is about DeFi, which kind of had a big hit a year ago. Last May, the total value locked was close to 150 billion. And just in 1 month, July, it declined to 50 billion. So 3 times. That's because of liquidation of position of fear of capital and other terror-related liquidations. And this TVL is still pretty low. It's about 50 billion and not growing. So this is a kind of very, very cold year for this second type of decentralized funds on DeFi. So these DeFi funds, they try to maximize yields by farming, mostly by relocating their staking into new chains, the new gas token to enrich the yield of their legend protocols, of their liquidity staking protocols, or proof of staking protocols, or just staking, where the new token print some tokens to pay this inflationary model. So these funds were trying to switch between the yield opportunities cross-chain until the UST was one of the biggest story. Stablecoin is 20%. collapsed and collapsed the entire market. So then there is a cross-chain risk. Cross-chain risk, when you move money cross-chain, the bridge broke and wormhole running, they all kind of $500 million losses.
Yeah, so from my point of view, I think, as I said at the beginning, decentralized VCs is a great opportunity for startups to get money, to get into the market, and it's very good for small investors like you and me, just to put small money in these funds and also earn something from that. So it enables startups, but also investors to have a bigger stake about the network and the different areas to work in. And especially law and security, I think, is a thing coming up with the regulations we need to take care of. So I look very positive into decentralized VCs. They helped us, they helped a lot of other people, and they will help much more companies. I'm very positive.
Yeah, if you guys want to raise funds in the future for your own project, I would highly recommend looking at different alternatives than the VCs. And I think everything should be strategic. If you want money, there has to be more than just money. Because when you go through the crowd, you're getting money, but you're also getting users. So think about that. When people invest in you, you're actually keeping the whole community with you. With SwissBorg ourselves, when we did our ICO, we had 13,000 participants across the world. And then after that, we did some governance, which brought us 45,000. And all of a sudden now, 5 years later, we went from 5 employees to 238 employees in scaling. Because it's the power of the community, guys. We have to break this broken model of just making the rich richer, just giving to VCs. And it's not the VCs themselves. You know, there's some great people. It's not the people we need to blame. It's the model. And if you're investing in the same thing, start now, think about your risk appetite, try to get involved in both yields, but eventually get involved in some of these opportunities, because I can tell you guys, I have many wealthy friends. One of them is actually weighs $2.3 billion in net worth. And I can tell you 100%, not 99, not 98, not 99.9, 100% of them have built their wealth through investing. And not through just salaries or freelance contracts and all that kind of stuff. It's the mindset that we need to have. So if you're a project, that's my advice to you. If you're an investor, that's my advice to you. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching so far. You've been an amazing crowd. Cool.
Yeah, so for me, I think with decentralized VCs, it's a great opportunity for people to get involved. From the project basis, this is where you can find amazing funding, and from an investor basis, it's again a whole new way to get involved. So, because I think you guys covered most of it.
I love the energy, Assad. Valentine, you brought many good points, and I wanted to come back to one, which is assets and private equity. Because for now, there is no bridge between on-chain token investments and traditional equity investments. And I think there is a huge opportunity there. CZ from Binance is not really trying to compete with the other exchanges. He's trying to get more people who are not yet in crypto to come in crypto. This is where the huge piece of the pie lies, to the outside world. So if we can bridge these two worlds, I think it's amazing. Of course, we should still keep on finding the best crypto deals, and there are tons of amazing opportunities. It's a space that moves super fast. The biggest number of smart people I've ever seen, and we can link these two worlds. With regulation, bring trust, we can have KYC, so some kind of KYC 3.0 with zero knowledge proofs. You can retain your privacy and still show that you're a good guy and you're good to invest. So there's many things to do. I would join Assad's claim, invest, do it, start, lose some money, make some money. The future is bright and full of opportunities. Get on it now.
Great, so thanks a lot. With this panel, it was very insightful. We are in the winter, but I think kind of something should kind of spike out of here. Kind of when the startups will use the money received for 40 billion, they received for $40 billion in 2021, Many of them are about DeFi protocols. Many of them are about decentralized venture funds. So they will build their products. They will start to show traction, attract the clients. So, and then there is another spring to come. So guys, I wish everybody build these protocols faster, bring traction faster, so we have next spring to get next 5 billion to the space. Thank you.